doing my homework? I don't know. Not right now, but maybe. Quick break as I check something on the old computer. We've been going for an hour and a half so far. Oh boy. Alright. Okay. Oh boy. Alright, we're awake. So, now on to the muscles of the foot. We have the abductor hallucis, which originates at the calcaneal tuberosity, the medial process. It inserts at the first toe, the base of the proximal phalanx via the medial sesamoid. Excuse me. Innervation is caused by the medial plantar nerve coming from S1 and S2. And the actions are great toe metatarsal phalangeal joint abduction and flexion, and it supports the longitudinal arch. Next is the flexor digitorum brevis, which originates at the calcaneal tuberosity, the medial tubercle, and the plantar aponeurosis. It inserts at the second to fifth toes, the sides of the middle phalanges, and innervation is caused by the medial plantar nerve, S1 to S2. The actions caused is that it flexes the MTP and PIP joints of the second to fifth toes and supports the longitudinal arch. Next is the abductor digiti minimi. Originates at the calcaneal tuberosity, the medial tubercle, and the plantar aponeurosis. Inserts at the fifth toe, the base of the proximal phalanx, and the fifth metatarsal at the tuberosity. Innervation is caused by the lateral plantar nerve, S1 to S3, and the actions are fifth digit metatarsal phalangeal joint abduction and flexion, and it supports the longitudinal arch. Next is the quadratus plantae. It originates at the calcaneal tuberosity, the medial and plantar borders on plantar side. Inserts at the flexor digitorum longus tendon, the lateral border. Innervation is caused by the lateral plantar nerve, S1 to S3, and the actions is that it redirects and augments the pull of the flexor digitorum longus. Alright, next is the lumbricals, which originates at the tendons of the flexor digitorum longus and inserts at the second to fifth toes at the dorsal aponeurosis. Innervation at the first lumbrical, the medial one, is caused by the medial plantar nerve coming from S2 and S3, and the second to fifth lumbricals, the lateral 3, are innervated by the lateral plantar nerve coming from S2 and S3. Actions caused for the actions are the lateral 4 digits metatarsal phalangeal joint flexion and interphalangeal joint extension, and it adducts the second to the fifth toes toward the big toe. Okay, on to the flexor hallucis brevis, which originates at the cuboid, the lateral cuneiforms, and the plantar calcaneal cuboid ligament. Insertions, it inserts at the first toe, the base of the proximal phalanx via the medial and lateral sesamoids. Innervations for the medial head is caused by the medial plantar nerve coming from S1 and S2, and the lateral head is innervated by the lateral plantar nerve coming from S1 and S2. Actions are great toe metatarsal phalangeal joint flexion, and it supports the longitudinal arch. Oh Jesus, I hit the wrong button on my keyboard. What did I just do? I did flexor hallucis brevis. Okay. It's okay. We're fine. It's okay. Now we're on to adductor hallucis, which originates at the oblique head originates at the bases of the 2nd to 4th metatarsals, while the transverse head originates at the MTPs of the 3rd to 5th toes, the deep transverse metatarsal ligament. They insert at the first proximal phalanx, at the base by a common tendon via the lateral sesamoid. Innervation is caused by the lateral plantar nerve, the deep branch, coming from S2 and S3. And the actions caused are that it flexes the first MTP joint and it adducts the big toe. Okay. On to flexor digiti minimi brevis, which originates at the base of the 5th metatarsal long plantar ligament, as well as the long, you know what I mean. Insertion, it inserts at the 5th toe, the base of the proximal phalanx. Innervation is caused by the lateral plantar nerve and the superficial branch of it, coming from C2 and C3. S2 and S3. S2 and S3. The actions caused are 5th digit metatarsal phalangeal joint flexion. Next is the plantar interosi, which has the number 3 next to it, which I don't mean that maybe that means there's 3 of them. It originates at the 3rd to 5th metatarsals, the medial border. Inserts at the 3rd to 5th toes, the medial border, the medial base and proximal phalanx. Innervation is caused by the lateral plantar nerve, S2 and S3. And the actions are, it flexes the MTP joints of the 3rd to 5th toes, extension of IP joints of 3rd to 5th toes, and adducts the 3rd to 5th toes toward the 2nd toe. And we have dorsal interosi, which has a 4 next to it. I don't know if that means there's 4 of them. I'm not sure. The origin is the 1st to 5th metatarsals by 2 heads on opposing sides. The insertion for the first is the 2nd proximal phalanx, the medial base. The insertion for the 2nd to the 4th is the 2nd to the 4th proximal phalanges, the lateral base, and the 2nd to the 4th toes at dorsal aponeurosis. Innervation is caused by the lateral plantar nerve, coming from S2 and S3, and the actions are it flexes the MTP joints and 2nd to 4th toes, of the 2nd to 4th toes, extension of IP joints of 2nd to 4th toes, and abducts the 3rd and 4th toes from the 2nd toe. And we have extensor digitorum brevis, which originates at the calcaneus, the dorsal surface, inserts at the 2nd to 4th toes, and at the dorsal aponeurosis and bases of the middle phalanges. Innervation is caused by the deep fibular nerve coming from L5 and S1. The action is extension of the MTP and PIP joints of the 2nd to 4th toes. I just want to say that the song's great. Just to break it up for a second. It's such a good song. Then we have the extensor hallucis brevis, which originates at the calcaneus, the dorsal surface, and inserts at the 1st toe at the dorsal aponeurosis and proximal phalanx. Innervation is caused by the deep fibular nerve coming from L5 and S1, and the action is the great toe metatarsal phalangeal joint extension. The synergists for the leg and foot in this chart are next. For the ankle, at that word I can't pronounce, the talocrural joint. Plantar flexion is caused with the gastrocnemius, the soleus, the tibialis posterior, the peroneus longus assists, the peroneus brevis assists, the flexor digitorum longus is weak, the flexor hallucis longus is weak, and the plantaris is weak. Then for dorsiflexion, we have the tibialis anterior, the extensor digitorum longus, and the extensor hallucis longus. Then we have the chart for the foot and toes, talotarsal, midtarsal, tarometatarsal, metatarsophalangeal, proximal, and distal interphalangeal joints. Sorry, I got distracted. It's so good. I'm gonna let it go for a sec. Alright. So good. The inversion is caused by the tibialis anterior, tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Hopefully I said that right. Tibialis anterior, tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Eversion is caused by the peroneus longus, peroneus brevis, and extensor digitorum longus. Then we have flexion of the second to fifth toes, caused by the flexor digitorum longus, flexor digitorum brevis, lumbricals, quadratus plantae assists the dorsal interosi, the second to fourth, the plantar interosi, third to fifth, the abductor digiti minimi, the fifth, and the flexor digiti minimi brevis, the fifth. Then for extension of the second to fifth toes, we have extensor digitorum longus, extensor digitorum brevis, the second to fourth, and the lumbricals. And that's the foot or the ankle or whatever, all those shits. That's a lot. There's a lot going on down there. Oh, okay. Quick break, check your phone, reset mentally. It's okay. It's fine. Oh.